I want to make this video a practical one, so no more framework, no more case studies, just you, your story, and a structure that's going to help you find the parts of it that actually matter. The founders I speak to say the same thing. I know I have a story, I just don't know how to tell it. And what that usually means is they don't know where to start, what to include, and how to make it feel coherent rather than just a list of things that happened. That's a structure problem. And structure is something that filmmakers are trained to solve. This is what I want you to hear before we start. You don't have to tell your entire story. You don't have to be completely open about everything. You don't have to share every single struggle, every low point, every detail of the journey. What you do need to know is which parts will connect and which moments reveal your character, which details create recognition in your audience. That feeling of, I know exactly what that feels like. A filmmaker makes those choices deliberately. Film uses a 3-act structure because it mirrors how human beings naturally process experience: beginning, middle, end. For founders, it maps like this. So Act 1 is always who you were. So not your CV, not your credentials, who you were before you built what you're building. What were you good at? What was missing, even if you couldn't name it at the time? What was the version of life that you were living that no longer fit? This is your character introduction. And the audience needs to understand who you were so they can appreciate who you've become, and so they can find themselves in you, the version of you that hadn't figured it out yet. Act 2 is the turning point. So every compelling story has a pivot, the moment where the old way stopped working and something new had to be built. This might be a moment of failure, a realization, a door that closed and forced you through a different one, a problem that you just couldn't stop thinking about. For a lot of founders, this turning point is actually several things that accumulated over time. Not one dramatic moment, but a slow gathering of evidence that something had to change. That's fine, that's real, so use it. The turning point is where the tension lives. And tension, which is the space between where you were and where you needed to be, is what keeps an audience engaged. Act 3 is the mission. So who are you now and why does it matter? Not just what you do, but what you're building towards. What change you're trying to create, what your work means beyond the transaction. This is where your archetype lives. This is where your audience is going to decide whether they're coming with you. If you're sitting there thinking you don't have a turning point or that your story isn't interesting enough, let me give you 3 questions. So number 1, what did you believe before you started this business that you no longer believe now? Number 2, what problem did you experience personally or witness so closely it felt personal that your business exists to solve? And number 3, what would you still be doing if money wasn't a consideration? And how close is that to what you're actually doing? The answers to those questions contain your story every time without exception. 2 things I see founders get wrong when they try to tell their story. Starting too late. They begin the story when the business started, but the most interesting part is always before that. The context, the conflict, the person that you were, that's where the character is. So start earlier than feels comfortable. The audience connects with the you that hadn't figured it out yet, not the you that had already built the thing. Cutting the difficulty. I completely understand the instinct. Nobody wants to lead their story with failure or uncertainty, but an audience cannot connect with a journey that only goes upward. The moments of doubt, the things that didn't work, the decisions that maybe felt irrational at the time, those are the moments of genuine human recognition. So don't cut them. But, and this is the filmmaker's distinction, you need to choose which difficulty to include. based on what it reveals about your character, not simply because it happened. Not every hard moment belongs in the story. The ones that belong are the ones that show who you are under pressure. That one explains why you built what you built. The rest, you leave out. Here's what you can do. Write 3 paragraphs, just 3, one for each act. Who you were, what changed, what you're building now, and why. Don't worry about it being polished. Don't worry about how you'll use it. Don't worry about whether it's interesting enough. It will be, if you're completely honest. Just get the shape of it on paper, and that's your founder story in its most basic form. Everything else, the format, the platform, the way you tell it, comes after you know what the story actually is. The story is already there. It always is. The work is not inventing it. The work is finding it and then having the confidence to tell the parts that actually matter. That's what we've been building towards. Next, we go deeper into how your story doesn't just connect, but positions you. How it tells your audience exactly who you are for and who you're not. And that's where it gets strategic.